traders. Woo! It's a little bit ugly out there today. Not much you can say other than some of the signals we thought were developing are teetering. We keep having that failure to launch scenario where it looks like maybe. It's one of the reasons why when we do go in, we go in fairly lightly until we get confirmation. But man, we got to talk about it. We got to process it. Let's be ready to do exactly that. So welcome out to the TradeSpoon live trading room, stocks and options closing bell. My name is Scott, and we are in this together. So group therapy today, right? Let's get to it. For those of you who are new or maybe haven't come for a while, I am the head trading coach here at TradeSpoon. I am fortunate enough to run the afternoon sessions Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, and the morning session on Friday. Although, is it canceled tomorrow? I didn't even think about that. Let me get through my slides. I've been trading for a while, teaching for a while. What does anyone know? Is there? I haven't been told one way or the other. Here's the disclosures because tomorrow's Good Friday. Remember. Good Friday, the market will be closed down. So what we do today carries us until Monday. My comments are going the wrong way. Okay, tremendous Thursday to you, Dennis. Good to see you. Hi, LK. Good afternoon, Teresa. Hello, Bill. Did I buy Twitter? Yeah, the markets are closed tomorrow, but So I'm assuming we don't have a webinar, unless you guys want to just get together and just kind of chat and have coffee, or what may be. Okay, let me just see if it's on the docket. Event registration, live trading room. Oh, yeah. The next one is not until Monday morning. So there you go. There you go. I didn't even think about that. Hi, Thomas. Good to see you. Let me get back into my setup. So the market started okay, right? Flat on the S&P. The Dow started up. The NASDAQ flat. The Russell slightly up. Oil was down. And again, during the course of one of our long days that we know we have, it turned around, and the S&P is now down at lowest points, 1%. S&P down 1%. The Dow 0.17. The NASDAQ is really taking it on the chin, almost 2%. The Russell 0.72. Big banks cautious about credit losses amid Ukraine war. So I wonder if they're really quickly amending. Has anyone listened or read any earnings announcements or statements? It sounds like they maybe are amending their guidance, saying we're not sure what that's going to look like, so just be aware. This whole Twitter thing is crazy, right? So is he basically looking to take it private? Like, is he buying it? He's just gonna buy Twitter outright and then just continue to run it as a private company. Let me know if you read anything about it. But they're saying if the board rejects the offer, it will crash 20%. Well, I mean, he offered a pretty good premium, right? He offered 54, I thought, didn't he? Which is there. Right now we're at 45. I wonder if that was the initial. Was that the initial thought when he first started talking about it right back here? What would 20% be? $9 puts you back at 36. Yeah, that seems reasonable, right? Very interesting, though. Musk's Twitter bid likely has Facebook, others quaking What else do we see going on? Musk is the Twitter board's worst nightmare. Recession is now the most likely outcome for the U.S. economy, not a soft landing, Larry Summers says. Okay. The reality of the world is finally starting to be reflected in the markets. Jamie Dimon's probably right, a lot to be concerned about. Yeah, there could be. There could be. That's about it for that I see for the news. The earnings, I bet, still come out pretty good, but we'll see what happens. Economic calendar came back. I would say okay. Jobless claims were a little higher, but it's at 185,000, well below pre-pandemic levels. Very strong labor market still. That's the saving grace the economy and our market has right now, is how strong the labor market is. Retail sales dropped from last month and a little less than expected, 0.6 to 0.5, but excluding cars, which no one wants to buy an inflated car, it's still a big ticket. Excluding cars, sales have gone up steadily, higher than last month, higher than expected. Consumer sentiment came back strong, expecting 59. We got 65. The indomitable United States consumer will prevail. Tomorrow, we have Empire State Manufacturing Index, industrial production, and capacity utilization. So basically some manufacturing and order data to help us understand what's going on there. Looking for the manufacturing index to go up, production to stay flat, utilization to stay pretty high. Those are all, again, solid numbers. Are we worried about losses coming to American companies from Ukraine? Yeah, the financials are. Are we all worried about inflation? Of course we are. But, and is there possibly a recession? Here's the thing. Just remember, a recession is not like, oh, we're going to lose billions of jobs and the market's going to crash. A recession just is two quarters of negative economic output. Will there be job losses? Of course there will be, but I think that overall the economy is in an okay place to sustain through it. I guess we'll see what the summer brings. Market forecasts, the Stella still says down, and so far that's kind of what we're seeing. Looking for this to maybe get back at or near the old lows. Down in the low 420s is what it's looking for. Let's pause for a second and bring up our chart of the SPY. We'll even get a quiz in now. We'll get the quiz in now. Okay, so here's the interesting thing. As negative as this looks, we actually have not broken back below this support level. We're still kind of holding this support level. You'll notice over here, it tried to go, and then we had this big bearish engulfing. One more day down, never took out that low, and then it took off. The stochastics is still showing a turn signal. Overall, I would still say this is viable for a setup, and if you took a trade, you'd still possibly be in it. Now, we have the Apple trade that looks like it's completely engulfing. That's a little more concerning. We'll talk about that one, obviously. Let's get a quiz in here. Okay, let's start with C's. C's, it's got to be below 439.5. B's, I'm going to go kind of right through the middle of all that. 440.5. And above is A's. And B's, you get this dollar range. So 439.5 to 440.5, ABC. Teresa is a C. She was fast. She's like, I'm not feeling it. LK is a B. Brad is a C. Dennis is a B. Bill is a B. Thomas is a C. Okay, so most people are kind of feeling we're going to stay in this lower range. Anybody else? I'm going to give Angelique her customary A, so we have somebody up there. John is a C. I think I'm going to go with the B's. In fact, I think we might flirt with A. I think we might come on up in here and then just kind of hit 441, and then it just kind of drops back in. I'm going to go with a B. That's me. And let's see what Stella thinks. Stella. Let's go to a 1 hour chart. If we close Sansi, look out Monday. Man, you could be right. Although sometimes over the weekend, people will just start changing their mind. Stella says that by, look, same thing. She said it's going to go up, over into A, roll back over, and by 1 o'clock, 4:38, 11. 4:38, 11. Stella's a C. Stella is a C. She says we're going to go up maybe a little more, and we're going to drop all the way back down here. Basically, she said new lows, it looks like, doesn't it? Yeah. New lows. Very interesting. All right. Whew. Let's go see what else is cracking. Let's look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ is struggling. We keep talking about how we need the NASDAQ if the market's going to show some strength. And if we're going to have the NASDAQ, we need Apple if the NASDAQ's going to show some strength. And so Apple is a pretty important bellwether. Whoa, that's interesting. So bullish on the Qs, including today, up 0.8. So really kind of missing on that one. Thought it was going to go higher. What do we actually look like? We actually look like this. Yeah, that's tough. I mean, it's the same thing, though. Still right here at this support level, looking for this to come. And unfortunately, it kind of went the other way. But even tomorrow is projected to test down at this low and kick a little higher. Okay, so we'll see with the NASDAQ. Here's the IWM, small caps. What do we have? Slightly up, followed by a downward kick. More downward today. We'll see how the model adjusts come Monday. Here's the DIA. It's going to be hard to trade into a long weekend with what we have going on right now, unless what you're thinking about is possibly a hedge. If you feel like you're carrying some bullishness, you're a little worried about this accelerating to the downside, then you might, right? You might look to do a little bit of hedging. Okay. Cyclical is we're looking for some upward swings, and we're just simply not getting it. Where are we? April 14th. I mean, it does tend to go a little sideways through this little patch and then kick up from here. If it's going to happen, it better start soon. like I said, I still see us at support. We're at support on the SPY. We're at support on the QQQ, but we're going to have stocks, for example. Well, I mean, technically, even this one, which is very hard, it's still kind of at or around. I mean, we tested this low here. Yeah, there's not a lot of volume associated with what we have going on right now. This could just be that last little shakeout, and then it kicks higher. Ooh, that's going to be a tough one. I think I'm just going to hang on. We plan for a certain level of risk. It's in that level. I'm gonna carry through the weekend to see if I catch the bounce. So that's Apple, but we're going to see a lot of this. You still have a valid turn down on your stochastics. It's not always just this clean, perfect, oh, look, A plus B, let's go. There's times where it does something like this. You get a signal, and then it just kind of comes back down, and it feels wrong, but it hasn't taken out the lows. You're going to see a pretty consistent pattern of this in things you're trading and the watch list as we see it now. Okay, so what's going on here? Give me 1 second. Okay, where's the other one? That one comes over here. So you can see Alcoa up a little bit, materials, not a lot of time left before earnings. We liked that one, but just didn't like the time before earnings. This is close. Look how much it's stabilized, right? What would be good would be if I saw something where, like, the next day it comes and it tries to figure it out, and then all of a sudden it gives me something like that. And this kind of bottoms out and then turns up. And I think, okay, I can get in. I could set a primary target here. I could set probably another target up in this area. We know we're not going to take it past earnings. Looks viable. I think we should be on the lookout for something there. It was a big sell-off, but it's stabilizing. If the big sell-off was more than you like, then you probably will pass. Okay, so now is where, did I go to everything on our routine? I think I didn't look at the heat map. Okay, so what do we see? We still see an okay amount of green in our consumer. We have a little bit in the financial, but mostly it's defensive, energy, utilities. We've got a little bit in the industrials. We talked about John Deere and Caterpillar. They look like they're turning. A little bit in healthcare. We've got a few in there that we have been liking. So, yeah, still plenty going on in the markets. ADI, one of our chip stocks, looks okay. I mean, it doesn't look great, but it looks okay. Archer Daniel, still strong as hell. AIG, kind of hanging in there. Amazon down 2.5%. You're right. Apple. Thomas said Apple hasn't been bouncing much just prior to earnings. Yeah, and there may not be enough to be thinking about now. AXP. That looks interesting. You've got a few days before earnings. You could possibly think of a continuation trade. Tight stop in here, 177.5. $4 of risk. If it gets up there, you're getting 2.5, 3 to 1, trailing your stop. How many days do you have? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. You get 4 days. If you think you can catch it for 4 days. Last time it fell before earnings, and the time before that, it did rise before earnings. Does that mean something? Well, maybe. That's interesting, though, for me. Put AXP on the list. BAC is no good. Right before earnings, struggling. Caterpillar. Oh, look at the Caterpillar. Yeah, I don't. What day was this? That was last Friday. Okay. I was going to say, I don't remember like seeing that turn signal. I felt like we were a little late this week on it, but I thought we talked about that signal on last Friday. I was just trying to remember if we we're thinking about a trade on that one together. COP, CVX, these oil stocks. CBS is looking like it could still move into position for us for another trade. The oil stocks are still moving. John Deere. Here's DIA. Well, the Dow is interesting today. It's only down 0.11 right now. Facebook looks close. I still think I would trade Facebook. It's starting to show signs. I mean, we've got time. Earnings are 427 after market. So we have all of next week and 3 days the following. So if you get a signal in the first or second day, you still have 6 or 7 days. Costco. Thomas said we should have pulled the trigger. I think it's still viable. In fact, I would actually say more viable. It's really right where it was. The volatility has actually come down a little, and we've got a confirmation here on, I'd say that's probably one of the strongest things we have to look at right there. So there you go, Doji. Where was I? Yeah, let's come back to that one. That looks nice. Facebook is setting up. FCX turned, but not really showing much. Gold kind of rolling over. IWM failing to launch. Jets is moving. I didn't like that doji signal enough, and then yesterday it popped. Today it's up a titch, but it's really just mostly yesterday's momentum still. J&J is close. That's viable. JP Morgan is not. It's a little too low at that point for me. Marriott, look at that big, just ran out of nowhere. Marvell. No, these chip stocks really need to hold these lows. Microsoft down there, same thing. Neo. The stochastics turn, but I don't love that signal. Nikola maybe is trying to. NVIDIA trying to hold the lows. Pfizer looks viable. I mean, the Qs actually still look like, from a broad perspective, very much like they've gone through a reversal process, right? It had this little hiccup flag thing, and it didn't really do much, and then it's continued on down, and now we're in this oversold position. We're kind of seeing, does this pop up out of here? If all I saw was this, I'd be like, nasty day today, but viable setup for a bullish upside. So, it's an interesting market right now. Nothing's moving with much conviction, though, right? Oil is, these are the crude futures here. It's still kind of like, is it going to come back up, or is it going to move within the context of this symmetrical type triangle? I mean, I missed it a little bit. You get the gist of it there. If it rolls over and we break the downside, we could be back in the mid 70s. Just all depending. GSL, Koo says, hello, Koo. Good to see you. Global shit. Oh, you can see this is where I said on the other one, what were we looking at? AbbVie. Where I said if that drop was too much, you might not be confident enough in this, you might think this might run out of steam. You can see the buying pressure after this selling pressure is dramatically different. But that does look like it's got to bounce. So, that's kind of, to some extent, what we're evaluating. Where was I? Silver, kind of flat, a bit toppy. Semiconductors, really just struggling to hang on. It's gotta be gotta be held here. So we're certainly keeping an eye on that. Where were we? Okay. Here's the SPY. Let's see where we are relative to the quiz. Oh, man, the C's. The C's. I thought it would come a little higher and then drop, but no, it fell out. This needs to get back above 39.5 for the B's to come back into contention. Tilray. Oh, let's get out of this perspective. I mean, I don't know. Still holding. I'd still consider it if it could hang on. Tesla's going to look like the other EVs. Tesla's got earnings, so I think we'll see Neo, Nikola, any of those EVs are going to be influenced by whatever earnings announcement Tesla ends up having. Gas just continues this whole Russia, like, well, now we're not selling, you'll have to find it somewhere else, is really having an impact on the prices, obviously. This is one that I feel like it just got away from me. I felt like I had a pretty good read, and then when it did this, I'm like, maybe I just kind of hesitated. I'm like, maybe not. I think I took one more trade, and that one just sort of floundered on me. I'm not seeing where that one was, actually. I think it was over here. Over here, I think I pulled the trigger in there for the third time. I did make a couple of good ones in there. And then when it floundered and then gave another signal, I was like, no. And then we just sort of, at this point, this was tough. Just left the station. I did recommend UNG as an oil play 5 or 6 days ago. That was, I'll tell you what, even if I mentioned it, it's a tough trade. I recognize it, right? Because if you're like in here, I guess you had a little bit of a bounce up, but man, when your indicators are already overbought, it's very tough sometimes, especially in a volatile climate. But if you got you some UNG, my hat's off to you, because that's definitely where the momentum is right now. United Health. So healthcare still looks pretty strong, but I think I like AbbVie and CVS. Maybe I believe Johnson & Johnson was the third one, but those two are primarily the ones I'm looking at. USO kind of moving a little bit. Visa, I think Visa, American Express, those look very similar if you're looking for something there. Okay, so here we didn't even, oh my gosh. How did we not? Where's Jacques when I need him to keep me in line? We did not discuss the VIX as part of our morning routine or our opening routine, because we said, what's our concern here? Our concern is if this is short-lived. This little swell here is short-lived, and it comes back down, and it doesn't get like tomorrow. Like on Tuesday, it has a little doji, and then on Wednesday, it's like this. Right? Higher low, escalation. An escalation that starts slow on the VIX tends to broaden. Start slow, broaden. Start slow, broaden. That should scare us all. That should scare us all. I'm not a doom and gloomer by any stretch. You should know that. I never think this guy is falling. I just think, what do I see that might indicate to me? Well, this is what I see. We've dropped a little on the VIX, but it is hanging on in the low 20s. So the institutions are not quite convinced at this point. And if it starts to accelerate the other way, I will absolutely, and it might not even be a hedge. It might become speculative. I talk about hedging, but right now I'm not in a lot of bullish. It's a little here, a little there, trying to see if it's right. We got some. And the things that I am in that are bullish tend to be more defensive. Oil, utilities, right? Natural gas, mining, materials. Those things will continue to go up likely if the rest of the market goes into a consolidation down again. So in that regard, I think it would actually even become more of a speculative, hey, this is likely to drop, so let's buy some puts, whether it's to hedge existing portfolio or to capture just downside movements. Remember the old saying, that SPY puts up a buck, the one we looked at yesterday. That was the that if you remember my formula for that, I always go about 4 to 5 weeks out. We went to the maze. I go 5% out of the money, which put us down around like 420, I think, ish. That's just makes it nice and easy. Bang. This thing drops to 420. Remember what we looked at was if the volatility swells, which obviously it would. So some people are like, oh, out of the money won't make as much. It sure as hell will. Whoever told you that is wrong. The delta will work. The Vega will just come smashing, and you'll make almost as much money from volatility on those out of the money puts when they work as you do from price action. And you can't do that within the money options. It just doesn't work that way, right? So yeah, okay. So be thinking about that because this is knocking. We might be talking about this on Tuesday. It might happen on Monday. It might happen Monday. So we have to be very careful with that and understand exactly what we're going to do with it. Let me know if you have any questions about that. I mean, how's everybody feeling? Let's have a check-in. I mean, obviously it's not like a super awesome market right now. I'm not looking to get as many chips on the table as I can. I'm looking to make sure that I'm intact when the good cards start coming again. The thrill is gone. Teresa said, oh, yeah, it's tough. It is tough. And the hard thing is, it's like, if it weren't for this Russia thing, I think we would have handled inflation no problem. I think we would have handled the 0.5 point rate hike. I just think that with this huge surge in commodities because of the conflict, adding to what was already slightly out of control inflation, puts us into hyperinflationary situation. And that's tough to trade into, right? I mean, we still have you still have some countries that will shut down here or there for the pandemic. Like it's like that's still happening too. And they're saying there could be another wave this fall. It's like, man, I look back at the Spanish flu and they were done in like 18 months. What the hell's wrong with us? XLP, the staples, XLU, the utilities, this all just looks way too strong. That's with whatever else we see, there has been just a lot of defensive posturing as we look at this. So, well, there's not a lot there, but what there is Costco. So we're going to go take a look, build a trade, show what we think it looks like, and then let you decide if that's something that you're going to take or not. So I have a green Heikin-Ashi, but I don't have a momentum. What's the difference, you might ask? Well, let me explain. So there's I would say 3 types of candles in Heikin-Ashi. You have your transition candles, and one of them is kind of a hybrid. So your transition candles are your dojis, right? Your little ones that look like this, right? Like this. There's some over here. You'll notice that we tend to get those before things happen. Then you have your momentum candles. Those are your bigger body, no upper shadow, or bigger body, no lower shadow. Right? Things like that. Right now, I have a little bit more than a transition, but I don't have a momentum. This is kind of the third type, which is just kind of a transitory. Like it looks like it wants to go, but I don't have enough yet. So I don't think I would put my stop all the way down here, but I also, I wouldn't put it underneath today because it's not there yet. So I'd probably, Goldilocks it and go somewhere in the middle below that last red candle on the Heikin-Ashi. Then if we get a nice kick into a momentum candle, I can jack that stop up underneath there and take a big chunk of risk out of the trade. In this market, that's definitely something I would look to do. So yesterday's low, 58.20, 582.47. We'll maybe say 582.25. 582.25. I mean, to the upside, it's looking pretty good from here. If I were to, that was a bad line. I feel like I swooped it and maybe made it a little stronger than it was. Okay, this one is kind of moving like this, and this one is kind of moving like this. So, I mean, I don't know. What do you think? 630 up in here somewhere. Yeah, it's 628. Everyone okay with that? Let me know if you see it differently. Volatility is actually quite low. I might buy the option here. It was a little lower at one point back here, but for the most part, this is in the low 20s. Should not be too bad. I think May looks okay. And once again, I'm probably going to go, oof, look at these. These are pretty expensive. It is a $600 stock after all. Probably, if you're going to keep your risk at or below $300, I think 610 is the best you can do, and you'll end up with one contract. Yeah, maybe let's do a spread. It's just expensive. Let's control our risk a little better. But maybe let's do like 590 by 600 and see how that looks. So we are theta negative, but less so than the other option. Let's see. Well, let me see if I can verify that. Let's do 3 of these versus one of these. So on this spread trade, we're losing $2 a day. We're risking under 3 to make 9, so we're getting a little better than 3 to 1. If I go the other route, you'll notice I'm losing $20 a day, and it gets worse. I do have a better reward to risk ratio. However, I need to go. Let's take this out probably to the 22nd. So I'm risking about 400 here. Still only about 300 here. So what do you get? You get a little better reward to risk, 4 to 1. This is a little better than 3 to 1, but I think I like that better, actually. So Costco. Yeah, let's see what this thing is going for. Live. May 590 by 600. $478. Okay, that's about where we are. I did not get 460. That looked a little bit suspiciously good. If you're taking the trade and you get a fill, tell me what you got. Yeah. Now, what do we like about Costco? It's defensive. Whoops. It's defensive. It's defensive. Here, there. So in this area here, we know that there's been some strength. It's the XLP. It has properties that if the market continues to show defensiveness, it will do well. So even though it does add bullishness, it's not like bullish if you were to add a financial or a technology. They're going to work a little bit counter to each other. Other than that, I don't have enough information. I think the market is still just sort of struggling to find a purpose and a direction. So what are we going to do? We're going to be fluid, be water. Watch that VIX. If that VIX turns around and makes a higher low, tighten stops, take profits, take losses, add bearish trades. It could get uglier if we see something like that. We really haven't done much coming out of the corrective behavior from the first of this year. Without the buyers showing more, this certainly could just accelerate into a bear market if things with inflation and the war in Russia, Ukraine doesn't produce any kind of viable, foreseeable solution. Well, there it is. Still trading light, still waiting. I'm willing to trade if I catch the signals. You got to be patient. Give your trades a little bit of time and room, but not too much. Easter/Passover, depending on what you celebrate this weekend. We will not have a market tomorrow. We will not have a trading room tomorrow. So you'll see Vlad on Monday, but we won't see each other until Tuesday afternoon. And now what? Now we have a sell-off into the close. Is what Bill says. Let's take a look at what we have going on here. Oh, sure enough. It looked like it was going to try, and it's not. That's an easy. Look at Stella was right on the money. 438.10, she said. It's 438.909. Right on the money. So Stella and all the rest of you C's, you get a shiny gold medal. B's, we get to come back on Tuesday, try harder. Think about it over the weekend, evaluate your methodologies for this game. I'm just kidding. Yeah, celebrate happy, holiday weekend, whichever holiday it is for you. Be safe, enjoy the spring weather, and let's reconvene on Tuesday and see what we think. So, thank you guys for coming out, hanging out with me. I appreciate it. And as always, happy trading.